I just wanted some sauce on those zingers.
Okay, so the plot thickens even more. Sarah Bond, who was the vice president of Xbox from 2020 until, let me look at my non-existent watch now, also announced that she was stepping down on Friday. Now, what's interesting about that is that a lot of people thought when Phil Spencer retired that she was going to take the helm and take his place. But it seems like that wasn't going to be the case because she was allegedly unbearable to work with. I'm not kidding. This has been verified by both The Verge and WCCF Tech. I'm going to read this to you, then we'll discuss. This article is by David Carcassoli over at WCCF Tech. Bond is pinpointed as the one who was pushing Xbox's absolutely god-awful Play Everywhere campaign, which essentially said that the Xbox platform was useless. Why do you need to buy their products when you could just stream their games to your phone? It was the worst campaign I've seen in the gaming industry. I think Destin also said this as well. Maybe the worst campaign I've seen for advertising in the gaming industry ever. I really don't see it was like literally watching a company metaphorically punch itself in the balls and continue to punch itself in the balls and thinking it was a good idea. Well, she seems to be the one that was behind all of that. Bond is pinpointed as the one who is pushing Xbox's Play Everywhere campaign more than anyone else, and that this is an Xbox marketing strategy was the result of a few key people leaving Microsoft, leaving Bond directly in charge of the platform's marketing team. When the new campaign started to air and those loyal to the platform on the consumer side were taken aback and even offended by it, they weren't the only ones. This is where it gets insane. The report claims that the campaign offended many Xbox employees internally. It was so disrespectful to how much hard work people put into the Xbox brand. You were just, at that point, it was kind of saying you were going third party completely. You were just telling people you don't need our products, you don't need our hardware, you could play our damn games anywhere. How the hell she thought that was a good idea is incredible. And that the pivot away from a dedicated console to a broader approach focused on cloud and mobile was something that Bond championed under Spencer. It also adds that Bond's departure comes as a relief to employees remaining at Xbox who claim that she was tough to work with and built a team structure that meant if you didn't follow the vision or questioned it, you were out. Oh my God, another one. Another friggin' narcissist that's in a position of power. That how dare you question her? Unbelievable. That said, she was still praised by her colleagues for the ability to get big deals across the finish line, including the quote crucial role unquote that she played in securing the Activision Blizzard King deal. But that's about all the praise that reports mention of Bond. And a lot of people say that deal with Microsoft or Xbox acquiring Activision Blizzard was essentially what led him to this point because they just didn't care anymore. They had Activision Blizzard King, I guess, printing them money. So they didn't really give a crap about the Xbox brand in terms of hardware. Anyway, back to the article. Everywhere else, she's reported to be the one behind Xbox's devaluing of its own hardware. And now that she and Spencer are out, Sharma's job is to usher in the return of Xbox, which seems to include major changes and the admittance that what the team had been trying has not been working. No kidding. And they go on to say that Sarah Bond, because of her strategy not working under Spencer, the staff went on to say that they thought that her departure was inevitable. And also, too, this is an interesting little twist. They wanted to get rid of Spencer and Bond, Microsoft that is because they see that there's value in Xbox and they see it as one of their last consumer brands that people give a crap about. So they want to get into people's good graces again. So that's why they had this big shakeup of leadership with Xbox, because Microsoft doesn't want to see Xbox die, which is strange because for a very long time, it sure as crap seemed like they did want it to die. They just looked at hardware and having a gaming platform as a nuisance. You know what's funny? One thing with Sarah Bond, and I looked this up to look into her background before I made this video, is that she's been gaming since the 80s. She said she was playing King's Quest II with her father back in 1986. Now, is she just saying that to seem like she has a gamer background, who knows? Who knows? And I'm not the kind of guy that is like, oh, you need to play this many hours of games and these kind of games each week, or else you're not a real gamer. But what I think concerns me is not her gaming background, is that she just got into the industry in 2020. That's when she became the vice president of the Xbox gaming division. And then she turned around and made it like she knew everything that was going on and like she owned the place. When you have Phil Spencer, who's your leader, you worked under him, Sarah, who's been working at Microsoft since 1988. It has nothing to do with your gaming background. It has to do that you haven't really been in this industry until 2020. And you just kind of went and took the helm and pushed Xbox in this horrible, poorly thought out direction of completely devaluing the hardware, like WCCF Tech said, and making it essentially, you didn't even realize it because you're an idiot, is that you made Xbox wave the white flag at a point where it really didn't need to. Phil Spencer, before you, was having Xbox go in the right direction. I remember around that he made it really gamer focused right when he stepped in 2014. Microsoft before that was swearing up and down, we're never going to sell a Kinectless version of the Xbox One. Phil Spencer came in and said, yeah, you are. And it worked. And then he made Xbox from that point on more gamer focused. And then he went into doing with the Xbox One X. And then he talked about getting all these first party exclusives. And it really seemed, especially towards the end of the 8th generation, going into the 9th generation, that Microsoft has turned things around. And it was a lot of credit has to go to Phil Spencer when it comes to that. And then you come in, Sarah Bond, to go, hey, you know that platform that Microsoft, you worked really hard to come back and rebuild after the disastrous Xbox One launch? Yeah, I'm just going to knock that all down because I think I know better than everyone else, and I'm Sarah Bond and I have a huge ego. So everything that everyone worked on, yeah, you could just stream it from your smartphone now. God, you're so goddamn stupid, and you don't think you're stupid, and that's what annoys me. These people and their ego, they're more worried about their egos and making sure they're right about everything than the success of the company, which in turn helps out other people. But God forbid they see anywhere beyond themselves. And that's who Sarah Bond is. But you know what, though? Sarah Bond is a successful, powerful person. And when you get to a certain point in our modern capitalist society, you just keep failing up. And so I'm sure she'll get some other job being a CEO or a president somewhere, making millions of dollars a year because, hey, she sucked at her last job. Guess we'll have to reward her with another well-paying new job. It's unfair. It's wrong. And people, when they screw up, no matter how powerful or wealthy they are, should be held accountable like the average person would. If you got fired from your job, would you be rewarded with a golden parachute in a high-paying new job? No. But if you're in the club, you are. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.